Last week I drove to Camarillo, California to buy a $10 game collection inspired by this guy, from this guy, who is collecting and reselling his stuff for all of the right reasons. After sorting through the collection, I came across this game that reminded me of an episode from Pawn Stars and started me down a path of, what do we have here?
I collect so many things, would you like to share this journey with me? I will show you the prizes I got today. So come along with me, come on and join in the chase, yeah!
What is happening, folks? Welcome back to Hunting with Tripler. Last week you guys saw an episode where I had bought someone's $10 game collection and inside was a really nice surprise, or at least I think it's a nice surprise. I still haven't really determined. In fact, I'm no closer to knowing what I have now than I was a week or 2 weeks ago. Here's the game. And what makes this potentially special is it is either a first or a second edition print of this game. I'm really hoping that it's the first edition. And in the background, this is all really very exciting to me for a number of reasons. I mean, sealed graded games right now are going for insane money. So in today's episode, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the research that I've done so far and give you guys at least a small backdrop into why this game is slightly more rare than some of the other variants that you might have seen out there. Why would this game right now be any more important than it would have been, say, a year or 2 or 5 years ago? What are we doing with this and what's the ultimate goal? So we're gonna dive into all of that in today's episode.
So the first thing I did, which most people would do, is I started to look on Google, looked up box variants for NES games. And what really piqued my interest is that the hang tab hadn't been punched yet, and I always remembered that that is, kind of unusual. Most people usually punch that, so I thought that made it a little bit more rare. And WATA being one of the premier grading services for video games, it seemed kind of interesting that they had this article, this in-depth article about black box NES games and all the variations to them. And this is the moment I learned about the sticker seal. And the sticker seal really means everything, whether you have a first or a second edition version of those black box games. And there were a number of other variations you had to look for as well. Was there a circular or oval version of the seal of quality? Was there a TM that showed up on the front of the box? Was there a code that showed up anywhere on the back side? And then there were other really interesting variations like the double sticker seal. But everything really came down to this graphic right here. I either have the October 1985 NES test market version, or I have the early 1986. The only variation between the two of these is one has a glossy sticker and one has a matte sticker.
And as many different variations as I've been able to look up online and try to see the visual difference, it's impossible for me to know. Being someone who has really no experience, I have no idea if this is a glossy one or a matte one.
I've been a big fan of the gaming historian for a long time, and his channel represents such a treasured past that we get to relive today, and he does such a wonderful job of telling that story. So I thought to myself, why not reach out to Norman and see what he has to say? And that's exactly what I did. So I wrote Norman an email, and I basically told him that I'm a retro game toy collector and a reseller, and I recently came across what might be a rare version of the Super Mario Bros. Game. Of course, I wasn't really expecting any response at all, but a guy like Norman who cherishes the historical value of the video game industry, he actually responded, and he was extremely thoughtful in his response. And if you guys want to read this entire email, go ahead and hit the pause button and read it for yourself.
So I get a response. I'm really shocked. I decide that I'm going to go ahead and reach out to Kelsey. I send her an email and she responds as well right away.
Hey Nicholas, it looks like your copy is an early 1986 print with the glossy sticker seal. The second print of Super Mario Bros., and I would definitely consider getting it graded. Hope that's helpful.
And with all the hype I've been putting around the game and all the effort that I've been putting into it and all the excitement, hearing someone tell me that this might be a second edition felt like a gut punch. But pictures can only do so much. And I've had so many other people who have looked at the exact same picture saying that's definitely a matte sticker. But she is absolutely an expert. So the question really comes down to, someone needs to see this. So in an effort to get some exposure around the game and to see if I could find somebody locally who was knowledgeable enough who could tell me what I had, I was making TikTok videos. I sent out some tweets to some prominent video gamers. I got a couple of responses, but nobody who could tell me they would actually be willing to look at it, or at least no one who was close enough to me who could actually put their eyes on it. And what that means is that I'm actually going to be sending in this game to WATA somewhat blind. I mean, yeah, it could be a matte sticker. Yes, it could be a glossy sticker. And the hype around grading video games right now is at an all-time high. And that's the reason why I'm trying to get it graded in the first place. There is a window of time right now where grading video games is at its peak, and I want to be a part of it.
So in 1986, this would be a 3rd or 4th edition Super Mario Bros. Sealed in the cellophane wrap, sold for $660,000. Shatters the record from $156,000. Fast forward 3 months later, and now you have Zelda sealed in the cellophane wrap selling for $870,000, shattering the previous record that was held just 3 months prior. As we've all heard over the last couple of weeks here, Super Mario 64 sells for $1.5 million. The market right now is insane.
And why shouldn't it be? I mean, people are starting to look at video games like it's a piece of art. Just yesterday, Retro Rick went through the process of talking about how he likes to preserve this. And why does he preserve it? If you've watched his videos, he likes the graphical nature of some of this. I mean, isn't creating the game itself a form of artistry? I mean, the passion that goes into it, the storytelling, the dynamics that sort of draw you in as a consumer. And if you believe that to be true, why wouldn't video games be considered like investments? Like stocks. They go up, they go down. And based on the total population of how many there are like it, tells us how valuable that item is going to be. Now, I'm not advocating for the retro video game market to become so unsustainable that we can't enjoy buying games at garage sales anymore, or that you can't go on eBay and buy a copy of just normal Super Mario Brothers because it's just too expensive. You have to be able to separate the difference between low population of rare games versus those that you can get anywhere. You can actually go into certain GameStops right now and get retro video games. There's mass-produced games, there's then the subset of those where there's a limited run, and then there's some that are just hyper rare because either no one bought it, the game was absolutely terrible, and there's ultimately just a small population of those games that exist. And it just means there's going to be this wide of a range of value on games as we move forward. And yes, some sealed games will retain their value a lot more than ones that are not, but you also have to think about, is that a popular title? Are there a lot in existence? Is it worth getting a copy of Kinect Adventures that's sealed in the box, graded from WATA? The answer is no, don't do that. Here's exactly what I'm sending in to be graded. The box itself looks really good. It looks clean. I am genuinely hoping that ends up being a matte sticker versus a glossy one. The value on this game as it's opened will be worth considerably more if it's a matte seal. Then we've got the version of the game with the plastic wrapping, and for those of you wondering, yes, down here at the bottom is the styrofoam insert. And then here we have the 1985 poster with the manual as well. So I'm thinking, if this is a 1985 poster, then what about the cart inside? What does the board say? Maybe the board could help us determine if this is a 1985 or maybe it's later. So let's open it up. Well, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this, but this confirms this cart was at least made in 1985. And that is very, very good.
So what's the possibility here? I see two that are listed, one with 65 watchers. This is not in the US, but when I'm looking at this, the box is really terrible. It does have the matte sticker. There are, some niceties to it. The cart itself got an 8 grade, so that's pretty good, but I mean, honestly, this is a really low grade, and this one is basically over $30,000 in value. This is another one. This has 20 watchers. The grading on this one is considerably better. There are a lot of call-outs on this, so a lot of things that you're looking for, like, is it the sticker seal, no code, does it not have the TM? There's a lot of things as I'm looking through this in this picture here that are, a strong representation of what I might have as well, at $32,000. Now, I'm going to go over here and check the sold listings because I'm not exactly sure if there are any. And as I'm looking through here, it looks like there's actually one here that's sold for $5,000, first print matte sticker, but that's really it, folks.
And that shouldn't be a surprise. There aren't a lot of sold listings on this because this game is incredibly rare. And those who are out there who might actually have a matte sticker or a glossy sticker or one that's totally sealed, maybe they don't know that the market is exploding right now. I think there's enough media outlets that are getting the word out there, but in the event that I do have a matte sticker version, there is a strong possibility that I might be listing this item for at least $30,000. And I want to emphasize something here. I didn't make this video to brag about the possibility that I have this matte sticker variant of Super Mario Brothers. It's just the coolness of it. It's exciting. I mean, I've never found anything this valuable in my life. And even if this is a second edition, so it's the glossy sticker version, this still might be worth a few $1,000s. It's very possible. And that makes all of this incredibly fun for me and for hopefully you guys who are watching. I don't want to come off like I'm gonna be rich, because that's not why I do this. I like to make a business around this. I like for there to be a moment of review and to summarize things. And it's also fun to collect some of this stuff. But this right here, if it turns out to be a matte sticker, we could be looking at something really special, folks. And as of right now, this is Tuesday, I'm actually sending this game in with 20 other games to be graded. I have a bunch of sealed games, I have some vintage, I have some relatively new stuff, but I'm taking the time right now to send in all of these games. And this Mario variant is going to get the 7-day treatment, which I believe is warp speed, and I'm expecting to have this back. So next week, we can now have another dialogue about this same game and see what the results are, because it's gonna be pretty exciting around here. I am not going to look at any of the grades as they come in. We're just gonna do that together on camera and be totally surprised. I think Phoenix Resale did that recently, and that's so much more fun to be surprised on camera. That was today's episode. We do have another episode coming up this week, Thursday or Friday. I'm trying to target Thursday, but it might come out Friday. So make sure you are a subscriber. Make sure you hit the bell so that you get notified when all of this content is coming out, because it's just gonna come out and it's going to continue to come out, and let's see what happens with this game. Thank you guys for watching, and of course I will see you later this week. Take care.